All right, here we are looking at notes for 4-4, example number 1. So when I'm graphing this, again, I'm making sure that it's in that slope-intercept form, that y equals mx plus b, where again, we pause off to the side. B is that starting point, or my y-intercept. And that m value, as we've talked about, is that slope, that rise over run. So here in this example, I can see that this is in slope-intercept form because the y is by itself and the y is solved for. So I can see where my x's line up, which means that my slope here is going to be equal to that negative 2/3. And again, the x is not part of the slope. So when you're writing down what the slope is, you're never going to write the x with it because x is not part of it. That's its own thing. Now, the b value, that starting point, where do I start? How do I know where to start? Well, I don't see anything being a plus or minus to that negative 2/3 x. So that leads me to conclude that it must be a plus 0 there, right? That's the only thing I could add to something and not change it. Adding anything else other than 0 is going to change the value of it. Which means that my b value, or my y-intercept, is 0. Or, aka, the origin. So that's where I'm going to start off with. So, starting off in the origin, that center, that 0, 0 point, there's my first point. And then looking at my slope was that negative 2/3, which again is rise over run. So negative 2 would be going down 2, and a positive 3 on the bottom would be going to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. And again, you just keep going with that. Down 2, right 1, 2, 3. Down 2, right 1, 2, 3. Again, taking up that entire grid. So we still need to go in the opposite direction. So if I go back to my starting point, that's 0, 0, if I go up 2 and right 3, notice how that's not going to give me a straight line. So we have to do the opposite of both of them. Instead of going down 2, we're going to go up 2. And instead of going right 3 this time, we're going to continue that line pattern and go left 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And here, you just want to be very careful to make sure that you're counting right. And if any of your points don't line up, that's a red flag to go back and recount to make sure that your line is nice and straight. So just going to use a straight edge. It's a lot easier for you guys to use a straight edge when you're not working on a touchscreen computer. But there we go. There's my line. And again, I use the straight edge. I have arrows at both ends. I need to label with the equation. So that's where you just take this equation that they gave you and just rewrite it on the graph. Negative 2/3 x. And take up the entire grid. Boom! Example 1, done!